This is like anybody can do any of these. Like, you don't have to be part of some large company or have some sort of special deal. You can just...
This is episode 81 of the Alt Arts Academy podcast, How to Publish a Video Game, Part 2, with Dean Victor Varnado and Vice Queen Roxanne.
Welcome to the Arts Academy podcast. I'm Dean Victor Varnado. This is Vice Queen Roxanne. Say hi, Roxanne.
It's me.
Yeah, it is. It's you. And of course, Rachel Teichman, MSW.
Good afternoon.
Thanks, Rachel. So today at the Arts Academy podcast, by the way, this is the Arts Academy podcast put on by the New York Alt Arts Academy. We teach you everything about the mechanics of the entertainment and arts industry. Everything. And what we're going to talk about today is how to publish your video. Was it how to publish a video game? Is that what we're going to say, or how to sell your video game? What did we say?
We said publish.
Great. Today, we're going to talk about how to publish your video game. This episode has been being recorded back-to-back with another episode, which had some great information about where I'm going to start, which is the Indie Fund. Ladies and gentlemen, the Indie Fund, they don't sponsor us. It's such a good idea that people should know about it. I know it seems like they're sponsoring us, but they don't. But the Indie Fund is a fund that you can just look up online, where if you are a game developer, you can just submit to the Indie Fund, and then they will decide whether or not they will give you money to make your game. So you can go from zero to having money to get your game finished. You do have to have a working prototype of your game, which you could make for cheap or free. Now, let's start talking about publishing. A lot of people don't know this, but there are so many places where you can publish a game. You can publish a game online, of course, at many, many places, and on, I guess, many marketplaces. You can publish your game for free, or you can also make money with your games. I want to just go down a couple of different ways that people can publish their games, and this is like anybody can do any of these. Like, you don't have to be part of some large company or have some sort of special deal. You can just go and do it. I guess, does everybody here play games a lot?
Hell yeah.
Decently.
I think that was the most energy I've ever heard in Roxanne's voice. Decently. Decently. Okay, so do you play on Steam?
Yes.
Yes?
Sometimes.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can publish games on Steam. Have you seen a lot of the indie games there?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them.
Yes.
All right. Do you ever browse indie games just to see what they're up to?
I browse them. I don't like buy them very often, but I like looking through.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Rachel?
I would say that I don't really game quite as much as I used to. And so while I'm not really browsing or buying indie games, I'm not really browsing or buying a lot of games in general.
Gotcha. Okay, so there's a website called itch.io. Have you heard of that website?
No.
Okay. Itch.io. I think Roxanne heard of it because I told her about it. Is that true, Roxanne?
Yes. Yes, it is true.
Yeah, itch.io is a website. It's kind of like YouTube, but for indie game developers, and people post their games and assets there, and you can go through them as much as you like. Some people give their games away for free. Some people sell their games. Some people work for tips. But yeah, there's just like a whole website of good times at itch.io. And it is basically like YouTube. You sign up just like YouTube. You get your own channel where you can release as many games as you would like.
Cool.
And then people will play it and give you feedback. Gamejolt. Never heard of Gamejolt?
I've heard of Gamejolt.
I have not heard of that one.
I have a game on Gamejolt.
You do?
What game is
Yes.
it?
It's called Maze of Cthulhu.
We should do speed run.
Yeah,
Let's do speed run.
I love a good speed run.
I don't know if you can actually no Mazes of Cthulhu you could speed run, but it would be hard to consistently judge it for a speed run because the maze is procedurally generated every time you play it.
Oh, that's even better.
So it would be hard to speed
Yeah.
run.
Well, that's good. That makes it an extra challenge, so you don't have to memorize the course by playing it over and over again. You just have to be good.
Yeah. So and I made a prototype of Maze of Cthulhu, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and procedurally generate the maze, but then also procedurally generate like a bunch of traps. So it'll be just like you'll be basically like in a dungeon trying to solve the maze as well.
If you find a level that's procedurally generated that you really like, can you save it?
Currently in the version of the game now, no, because the game is really bare bones right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's out there on Gamejolt, which is another website where you can sign in, have a profile, and you can upload games. And the games that you have at Gamejolt can even make money if a lot of people play them. And then also you can there's a also called a Gamejolt wallet there. They have their own little like currency on Gamejolt. You can figure that out. It's not a big deal. But yeah,
you say it's a cryptocurrency.
I don't think it's a cryptocurrency because I think it only exists on their website. But technically, I guess if you're going to break down the words to its Latin roots, then maybe it is.
Yeah.
It's the etymology. All the way down.
Yeah, if you want to break it all the way down. Distributors like this go on and on and on. Like theoretically, if you were an idiot, okay? Say you're an idiot and you make terrible, terrible games. But if you put them up on every site that accepts them, you'd probably start making a little bit of money. If you just put your games everywhere. Because, if it's really terrible and nobody plays it, that's something. But you can totally just like publish your games. Humble Bundle is actually a place where you can publish. You have to submit your games to Humble Bundle though. Have you guys ever used Humble Bundle? Do you know what that is? Humble Bundle is a company that makes like software and video game packs all the time, and then they go for sale. So they'll put together a package of a bunch of pieces of software, and then sell them at a greatly discounted price. But it has so many subscribers that people will buy them. So if your game becomes part of a Humble Bundle, which you submit to, then you get part of the proceeds, and it automatically sells like a certain amount of money with Humble Bundle.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. It's almost like Stitch Fix in a way.
What is Stitch Fix?
Yeah.
I think Stitch Fix is one of those services where it's all digital, but you get someone who is like not your own designer, but your own wardrobe configurer, and it's like a monthly subscription, and they send you new clothes every month.
Oh, they send you new clothes, or they send you? Wait, it's a rental system?
I think every company that does this is a little bit different. I think some of them is rental, some of them you can just buy the box. And then I think it's somehow related to AI from what I understand. So if you like what you get in one box, you can say what you like and what you don't like, and then it'll send you an even better box the next time you order from them. And you can usually you can send back what you don't like.
Interesting. I think I might have to give Stitch Fix a try because I hate shopping.
Yeah, there's a few different companies out there. Stitch Fix is the one that comes to mind because it's everybody's sponsor.
So let's keep going with the gaming thing because we want to make sure that people get their information here. Congregate is another site spelled with a K.
I'm familiar with that. Yeah,
I've played games on that. Then Congregate is another one where they will take you can put your game up on Congregate and then it can make money, but then they also have programs you can submit for where it's kind of like a Humble Bundle where they'll like put your game in like packages. And ad revenue is the big thing from Congregate. Depending on actually, I read this. ad revenue ranges from 20 to 50%, depending on the exclusivity of the game. So if your game is exclusive, I guess you get more money, and if your game is less exclusive, you get less. There's other ones that I haven't heard of, but I'll just read off their names. We don't have to really go into them. But just if you are a person and you just want to find out all the different places, just keep going to these different places because they all have similar deals where you put your game up and you can get a revenue split based on the amount of advertising that your game draws. There's Gamersgate, there's Gamehouse, Google Play. That's different. Google Play is a market just like the Apple gaming market, or the Apple App Store, and also the Amazon App Store. By the way, I don't know if you know this, but so like you can put games on the App Store like Google Play or Amazon or iOS, the App Store. I don't know what's the Apple App Store called? Just the App Store?
The App Store.
The App Store. They got to it first, so they were like, it's the App Store. And that means Apple, and then everybody else has to come up with a name for their knockoff of the App Store.
RIP.
Why did you say RIP?
Because all the other companies had to come up with a different name for something that is like so basic.
When you say RIP, what does it mean? It seems like to mean like 6 different things.
Well, it's like, yeah, it's you say you got to the subway and the train was leaving right as you got there. RIP. That's an example of when you would use it.
I thought that RIP meant like you were laughing so hard you're dying.
No.
I think it's like kind of like saying like, oh, that feels bad. Is that
it's like oof.
You're using it? Yeah.
It's a lot like oof.
It's a lot like oof.
Yeah.
But RIP is usually just a little bit more intense than oof, I would say.
All right. If you say so.
I do.
Anyway, getting back to it. So there's app stores for all of these, but did you know, and a lot of people don't know this, that you can also distribute your apps to TVs. You can distribute them to Roku. There's like, I think they had on the Amazon Fire Stick, you can even play Crossy Road. So like, if you've got a simple game that you want to publish, you can also publish to platforms which don't have as many games, which means that you'll probably have a huge increase in the number of people who would possibly buy your app if you made a game.
That's cool to know. I don't know if you'll know the answer to this, but what if you design and program a game into your TI-84? Could you then export that and convert it into something playable on other platforms and therefore sell it on some of these websites?
This is hyper specific. Have you done this? Or like, have you wanted to do this?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that here's what I think is going to happen. Here's what I think the general answer is. Yes, you could do that, but it would be probably much easier to just make a TI-84 emulator on any other system and then have your game displayed on something that looks like a TI-84.
That's a really good point. There are TI-84 emulators out there.
You could actually do that with, it would be fun. I bet this exists. Do you remember those games that you used to play when you were a kid, like football games that had like just little red LEDs in them? Have you ever seen those retro games like that? They're like handheld games that just have red LEDs that light up.
Oh, like Game & Watch?
Like Game & Watch? I don't know what that is.
That was like a franchise. I don't know if that's the same thing though. I don't know. This might be what you're talking about. Might be before my time.
Maybe it is. Okay, it doesn't matter. A lot of some things that are really popular are emulators on phones. Like they emulate old style games on phones. Like that's actually super popular right now.
Would a Tamagotchi be an emulator?
Yeah, I think there is a Tamagotchi emulator, or there was at one point.
If an emulator emulates the software or the hardware that a gaming system was on as well, so a Tamagotchi itself might not be an emulator, because basically an emulator means, like, for instance, like you can get a Game Boy emulator for your phone, and then you can download files that used to work on an old Game Boy, and now this emulator will play those same files. And when those Game Boy files tell the Game Boy to light up this portion of the screen, the emulator translates that to your screen somehow.
I have done it once for Pokemon. I'll do anything for Pokemon.
Honestly, me too. The Switch has a really good emulator service, especially if you have the monthly subscription.
All right, this is all great information. Well, anyway, if you are going to publish a game, just remember that the list that I gave you is not complete. Those are a lot of popular places to publish your game, but there are an insane number of places to publish your game. I would get involved in forums and find other people that are into gaming so that they can lead you along the way to publish your game as well. I think that I wish I had the number, but I don't have the number about how much the average wait. I do have the number about how much the average indie game makes, like if you publish an indie game. Indie gaming is something like indie game development is something really interesting because it's one of those things where as long as you have time, you can just do it in your house by yourself and you're good.
With designing some of these games, are there limitations if you are Apple only?
What do you mean Apple only?
Like if you only have a Mac computer, are you limited by some of these different programs?
I mean, you mean if you only have a Mac computer to play on or to make the game on?
To make the game on.
If you only have a Mac computer to make the game on, you are limited by. You're only limited by the software, because some gaming engines don't work on Macs, but that's not true for all of them. There's plenty of them that do work on Macs. So, for instance, like most of the ones we went through, the gaming engines in the previous episode, those all work on Macs.
Got it.
So you can definitely make a game with a Mac if you're ready for that.
I have a general question.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So is there a way that you can kind of tell if your game concept is like a hit or miss?
Yes, it's called play testing. Basically, you give your game to people and let them play it, and then you get their feedback. Because if you don't do that, you're skipping one of the biggest steps of games, is making sure that they're fun to play. And when you're working on a project too closely, you may be either really good at your game or maybe something that is actually interesting about your game you've long forgotten because you're so used to it. Like, you definitely have to give it to people to play test. And then, in fact, I'll tell you what. When we have time, I'm challenging you to a game jam.
Challenge accepted.
We can meet. We'll make teams. What?
I'm probably going to get my butt kicked, but it's fine. I'll have fun.
You and I will be a team.
Okay.
Wow. You two just made a big mistake.
What I hear is we're going to win, and you're just
You might win. You never know. You might win, actually, because I'm probably just going to make another Cthulhu game like I always do. Because I love my Cthulhu games. Whatever. Everybody out there, thank you for tuning in to the Arts Academy podcast. I am Dean Victor Varnado. This is Vice Queen Roxanne. Say hi.
Bye.
All right. And Rachel Teichman, MSW, thank you for being here.
De nada.
Great. All right, everybody, check us out at artsacademypodcast.com and Alt Arts Academy on all social media.